Let's bring in angel investor Jason Calacanis, who joins us today, talk about this B of A upgrade of Apple a little bit more. Jason, good morning to you.
Great to be here. Good morning.
Obviously, it's been a rough start for the year for the NASDAQ. If we close down today, that's 9 in a row. We haven't done that since 1984. What's your overall view on how the year shaped up?
Yeah, well, we were looking at, the tech industry and the overall market in the summer, Q3. Everybody was panicked about the bubble. Well, what we've had is a very controlled deflation of the bubble in really 3 different areas. Obviously, the stock market is taking a nice hit, and price-earning ratios are going to come down a bit, which is probably healthy. Everybody getting a little more realistic and having some ability to make a profit in the future. But in the area where I'm most active, angel investing, valuations have been cut in half, in some cases 2/3. And on an area that impacts me significantly as an angel investor, the late-stage private company valuations, we all know the story there. The last round you raised, in 2015 was probably going to be a high watermark for your company for the next couple of years. So controlled deflation, and it feels pretty good, actually, to reset expectations a little bit.
How much longer does this go on, this controlled deflation you speak of?
Yeah, I think what we're going to need to see is the private companies are going to have to prove that their businesses are sustainable and profitable. And that is the great hashing out that's occurring right now, very quietly, very privately. Everybody's taking their balance sheets and figuring out, do we have enough money to get to profitability, and what will this company look like when it goes to the public markets? So, it's actually a very reassuring thing for people who are in the tech industry to see, hey, listen, we're not crashing here, but this controlled deflation is resetting, this last little frothy part, and the bubble talk is over. There's not a bubble now. It's been cleaned up, and now we can all just focus on building these, world-changing businesses, and that's really the big story here.
All right. We mentioned the Apple call, B of A upgrading Apple to buy this morning. Jason, the firm says that iPhone concerns are now priced in. It's bullish on several opportunities, including a new watch, the iPhone 7. That's helping put Apple shares almost back to 100 today. Meantime, Elon Musk says, of course, Apple's building a car. In an interview with the BBC, he says it's pretty hard to hide something if you hire over 1,000 engineers to do it. Everyone's watching to see, Jason, if Apple can develop a significant, fat, new revenue stream. Do you think the car is it?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to get a car to market. I think they might be testing the waters right now, seeing how far they can take it. And, the more likely scenario might be that they're building an operating system for cars and a deep integration, and just seeing if they can build the enabling software. To build an actual car, yeah, it's in their wheelhouse. They know how to do manufacturing, but that would be a 5-year story before the car is available for purchase. So, sure, why not try? But I think that, Apple's best chance of putting out a great car is to convince Elon to sell them Tesla. It's going to take 5 years, but they're clearly going after this market, and transportation is going to become, a changed industry in that. The majority of miles in the next 5 to 10 years, somewhere in that window, the majority of miles driven will be done autonomously. Now, that might be closer to 10 than 5, but it's definitely going to be here in a decade. And then how you pay for a car, how you buy a car, that's the topic that most people aren't talking about, but that's going to be the big one. Does Tesla sell you the car? Does Tesla sell you a share in a car? Does Tesla sell you 10,000 miles? Do you rent it on a per-hour basis? Because I don't know that people want to be making these huge purchases anymore of cars if they're all autonomous and you can sort of just summon one to take you where you want to go.
Well, we've seen some of these partnerships crop up, Jason, as we work toward that. The Washington Post today points out that Apple and Google are partnering with more than 40 companies in sort of an exploratory way. But there's a Detroit auto exec that's quoted, and I love this, and he said there's one word to describe how Silicon Valley views us, and that is as prey. How uneasy are these alliances, and who's actually benefiting from them?
Yeah, the more people in the alliance, the greater the chance it's going to fail. So, especially in a complex technology industry, you want to have the whole car, the mapping system. You want to have all of this under one group of engineers, and a tight one of brilliant engineers to make it actually work. So I think that all the automotive industry, the best they can hope for is, that they may be able to, die a slow death. I don't think that it's going to be a very good experience for them, to be totally honest. I think that they're going to get their bells rung.
This I will say about the car thing. There are two conflicting cultural things at Apple when it comes to the possibility they will put out a car. One is they don't like to partner and put the fate of a product in somebody else's hands. They tried that with the phone with Motorola, with the Rocker first. It was a disaster. So I think that's part of the reason why they want to build out the capability. But on the other hand, they hate putting out products that are heavily regulated. Tim Cook has talked about that's why they don't want the Apple Watch to be a medical device. Cars are heavily regulated. So there's a big opportunity there, and there's arguably no opportunity like the smartphone left. But if they get into cars, oh my goodness, there's lots of red tape that they're potentially going to be bogged down with. We got to see which one of those tendencies that Apple wins out with a product like that.
Yeah, I think those are all very astute points. I don't think you're going to be able to bolt self-driving onto, a bunch of old Fords or a bunch of old Chevys. I just don't think it's going to work. You're going to have to build these cars from the bottom up. You're going to have to retool the entire factory or rebuild the entire factory. And I think the big secret here is that Elon's figured out self-driving. I mean, he's talking about it an awful lot on Twitter, and he's not somebody to be underestimated. When he figures something out, it comes out rather quickly. Remember, we're just 5 years away from the automotive industry making fun of Elon being a major competitor, and now they're staring at the ceiling at 2 in the morning, screaming his name. I mean, it's a nightmare for the car companies that they have him as a competitor.
You mentioned Twitter, Jason. Twitter's Periscope gets a big upgrade today. Our Julia Borston's live in L.A. with some details on that. Hey, Julia.
Hey, Carl. After buying Periscope last March, Twitter is now integrating Periscope live feeds into its news feed, announcing also that Periscope has had over 100 million broadcasts since its launch. So starting today on Twitter's iOS app, followers of anyone who broadcasts via Periscope will start seeing videos autoplaying in their timeline instead of just links to the app. Now, Twitter users will be able to expand the video and see hearts and comments without leaving Twitter, and advertisers can pay to promote tweets with Periscopes. But Twitter users will not be able to broadcast or comment within Twitter. They'll still have to download the separate app. Now, with Twitter user growth struggling and its stock down 49% over the past year, this move does tap into the growing popularity of mobile video, and it should boost Periscope viewers. Stifel's analyst with the buy rating on the stock says this morning that this is a, quote, step in the right direction that can potentially drive user engagement, followed by user growth. But this move does come a month after Facebook started rolling out its live feature, introduced for celebrities back in August, to all Facebook verified users and brands. And Facebook users can broadcast and interact within the app, and Facebook automatically archives the videos. Now, Twitter wants to be the destination for live events, so we'll see if this can help Twitter add more users. Carl?
That is the name of the game. Julia, thank you very much. Of course, Jack Dorsey has to hope that might turn around the stock price. Shares are down today, or were earlier this morning, down about 25% since Jack returned as CEO. Jason, Time has a piece up this morning saying the fact that they're going back to their portfolio, their acquisition portfolio, argues the marginal value for them is really outside the platform. Do you agree?
No, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think what we can take from the first couple of months of Jack's tenure is he's going to release a lot of product, he's going to talk about it, and it's going to be the opposite of the Yahoo situation, which was, they didn't release any new features, they didn't release any new products, and the discussions were all about, divesting investments. Well, Jack is, dealing with the stock being at an all-time low. Expectations are horrible for the company, let's be frank, but he's releasing new product, and he's basically getting them on a release schedule with a lot of innovative stuff. And what's interesting about, the piece that we just watched is that Facebook is catching up to Twitter in the case of the live video. So it is possible for Twitter to innovate. They've got an innovative CEO now, and he's talking about expanding, how long a tweet can be. That seems trivial, but it does mean that people can start using Twitter as a blogging platform, as a long-form platform. So, listen, it's hard to be bullish on Twitter right now, given everything that's occurred. But I do think it's great when you see a company releasing new products on such a consistent basis so early on in the tenure of a CEO. I think I think Twitter's got some good products that are going to come out in the coming year. It's going to be a good
Absolutely,
2016.
Jason. And it works. I mean, if you've got iOS and you open up your Twitter app, it works. The periscopes play. It works pretty well. I don't think this is big for Twitter itself. It's more like a really good advertisement for Periscope. People who maybe haven't tried it, haven't downloaded the app, haven't signed on, when they start seeing these periscopes playing in their Twitter feed, they might say, oh, well, hey, I want to interact with the celebrity. And I think that's where it comes down for this particular product.
But is it bad for Vine?
No, it's not bad for Vine, because Vines are incredibly crafted. You have to do a lot of work to get a good Vine out. Well, to get a good one out. Yes. To get a good one out in 6 seconds. Yeah. Whereas live video is a different kind of hard, entirely different genre, if you will. So we'll see how the power users really use this and if they can link a big audience into it.
Yeah, it's going to be live video, and is going to be a new format. So if you look at Snapchat, which I'm really bullish on, there's a guy named DJ Khaled who is getting 3 million views for every time he releases a short video. You know, by comparison, the Kardashian show gets like 1.5 million or 2 million viewers every Sunday. I'm not sure what they get in reruns, but it's probably a little bit added to it. So this is a new format that's going to come out, and when they allow the individuals to start monetizing it, and they're well into tests of splitting revenue over at Twitter, this is when a new medium forms, and this is when we talked about it last summer, was the YouTubeification of Twitter. Will there be stars that emerge on Twitter that share revenue with the platform and then are drawn to the platform as the place where they release their primary art, the place where they first publish video? And that's starting to happen. You have people popping up these periscopes all over the place.
Jason, good to see you again.